my thoughts on Mario Kart World. So, I just recently watched the Mario Kart World Direct, and now we're going to be reviewing this game from what we saw in the Direct, from battle mode to courses to characters to items, etc, etc. Let's get going. So, to start off with the courses of this game. Now, I do say that a lot of people tend to hate the fact that there's only 30 courses when Mario Kart 8 Deluxe had like 96 different courses. And honestly, while I can somewhat agree, I'd say like 30 courses is already enough for me. I mean, remember, this is a massive open world, and you can only have so much courses in an open world. And it's not just a course, there's more to the course. Remember, this isn't a normal Mario Kart game. Now you can go off-road and go out of bounds and explore. And on top of the exploring, there's a bunch of missions and challenges and all this crazy stuff, unlockable costumes. There's a lot of content even in only 30 courses. Not to mention, each course has its own pathway to the next course, so you have to add on that as well. There may only be 30 courses, but there's already so much content that you're given right from the start. Also, quality over quantity, because wow, dude, these courses look so beautiful. Like, every single detail is completely fleshed out, and every single corner of each of these tracks feels intentional, which is great. Speaking of courses, the retro selection is also really good. Like, Toad's Factory was a great choice to bring back since it wasn't in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And Sky High Sundae got a huge glow up, which is something that I really appreciate. Also, pretty much all of the courses, whether retro or new, feel super creative. Characters. So, the characters. I think this roster is more wacky than good. Like, I would much prefer 8 Deluxe's roster over this. But I mean, some of these characters are just really funny. I mean, Gooba was necessary because he's like a very mainline enemy. But Spike, Cow, Cheep, Sidestepper, the list just goes on and on. And the roster itself, I mean, I'm not really a big fan of putting the costumes on like single slots, but I'll get used to it. Speaking of which, I don't know if this is just because they decided to remove the feature of customizing wheels, but there's less stats. You know, I don't like that. Alright, now it's time to talk about the two main modes for racing in this game, Grand Prix and Knockout Tour. Now, Grand Prix is mostly the same in most Mario Kart games, and here it's roughly the same, except the fact that you have to drive to the next course instead of just being teleported there, which I'm not exactly sure if that's a good or bad thing, but we will see when this game comes out. Now, it's the same 4 courses per cup, and I really do like that. And with 24 players on, it's gonna make Grand Prix like even better than before. Also, them making Rainbow Road an unlockable course by completing all the Grand Prix cups is honestly a genius idea, because Rainbow Road is in space and Mario Kart World is on land. Also, they're keeping it hidden, so it must be really good. Knockout Tour. So Mario Kart World's brand new mode, Knockout Tour, looks to honestly be pretty good. While it does focus on the aspect of driving from one course to another, just simply the fact that you always have to be on your toes to make sure you don't get eliminated is going to be super fun when playing this mode. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that being in first place and stealing that crown from second place is going to feel bad online. Okay, now let's talk about the items in Mario Kart World. So first off, they removed the Piranha Plant item, which is normally would be fine, but they added a Piranha Plant character, so I think it's a bit depressing that the Piranha Plant item was removed, even though it's a mid item anyway. One thing I do have to say though is that making the items trail behind you instantly when you collect the item was a very strange choice, and I have no idea how it will affect gameplay, but Okay, why not? Okay, let's talk about the new items. I think the coin shell is gonna be that useful. Like, it's a very like high risk, high reward situation, but like with 24 players and being bumped around, you're probably not gonna get like many, if not all of your coins, which sort of makes this item a bit more difficult to use, which is nice, but you know. But what is a good item is the ice flower. I really think the usability of this item is really good, and it's honestly much better than the fire flower. Next up is the hammer. It's somewhat unique and the hitbox is pretty big, though I do wonder if you can hit yourself with the hammer. Because while it does disappear very fast, if you're also going really fast, would you hit it? Anyways, the Mega Mushroom is not necessarily a new item, but rather from Mario Kart Wii. And honestly, while it is very similar to its Wii counterpart, it's probably going to be a lot stronger in this game specifically. The feather item does return from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and now can be used in actual races just like Super Mario Kart, and can be used to dodge things and take epic shortcuts, baby! The Kamek item just feels like a Wonder Seed, but in Mario Kart, which is cool. Lastly, the lightning was nerfed, which means that bagging is probably dead for good. Now, I am quite glad they decided to bring back all the useful assistant features like smart steering and auto accelerate, but for tilt controls, does that mean motion gliders back? Because if that's the case, then oh my gosh. Then who knows how this will affect the Mario Kart World Online gameplay. This yellow thing being food was one of the most unexpected things I would have ever expected from a Mario Kart. But I mean, it does tie into the wackiness of this game. And hey, when you eat it, you can unlock new costumes. Which honestly, since before it was only on tour, having it in this game feels like a necessary addition. And boy, do they look really good. I honestly really love the charge jump. While it is somewhat simple on paper, the fact that you can use this to get a double trick in certain areas and grind on rails is going to open up an insane amount of brand new technique and mechanics across 30 different courses and how to tackle them. Speaking of which, you can grind on walls as well, which is pretty sick, and it's going to lead to even more ways to save time in time trials, and it's going to shake up the gameplay experience in online a lot. Now, I'm not exactly sure if the rewind feature is also in online, but if it is, that'd be pretty funny, not gonna lie. So, time trials. I'm very glad it's back, and the feature of racing Ghost Online felt like a necessary addition. For versus mode, I'm so glad that we can play a course traditionally. That saved me from a heart attack. Oh yeah, they really took advantage of the fact that 24 players can play, because now you can play up to 4 different teams. That is so sick. Though I do think that the battle mode is a bit weak in this course. There's only 2 modes, Balloon Battle and Coin Runners, whereas Mario Kart 8 Deluxe had 5 modes. And I somewhat feel like besides Big Donut, these courses are just the racetracks but a bit smaller, which might be fun, I have no idea. But that's really the only thing that sort of disappointed me, the battle mode. And I was kind of already expecting it because they somewhat tried to hide it until this direct, just like something else that's awful, the prize! Free roam! So, free roam is the core of this new game, and honestly, I think they executed it perfectly. The tracks are so detailed to the point where you would want to see the outside of the track, and there's a bunch of missions and challenges, as I mentioned before, which is really fun, and you can earn rewards and costumes by doing these missions and challenges, so that makes them worthwhile to do. and you can play this online with friends, which is so sick, and I would love to do that someday. Speaking of friends, I think we should now talk about... So the multiplayer system is basically the same as per usual. 4 players can play on one system. Single player, multiplayer, online play, and wireless play are back as per usual. Speaking of wireless play, it can now have up to 8 players, which is cool, but honestly, I never played wireless play in my life, so that's not that big in my opinion. Online play is a bit weird though. I do love the fact that 24 players can race in both a normal race and a knockout tour, but there's no tournament mode, which is a bit disappointing in my opinion. Also, while I understand that you can play free roam with your friends, I do have one question though. When playing online, would we play a course traditionally, or would we play it in the way where we have to drive to the next course? And would we vote if we got to choose? This isn't much of a critique, but rather a weird question that wasn't answered for some reason. For playing with friends online, I don't think there's actually that many flaws. It's basically perfect, except the fact that the screen looks really laggy, which I don't know how that will affect gameplay though. Now there is a Nintendo Switch 2 camera, but it feels more like a goofy addition. Like, I don't think it'd be that useful compared to something like voice chat, which will probably be more useful than this feature, especially since not a lot of people are going to buy a camera. Okay, there are 2 more things I want to say before I end off this video. One, I'm not exactly sure why 200cc is not here. Like, I think it would fit perfectly in this game, and it might come in the future, but who knows. And the second thing is the point system. It's very wacky, and I think it's a bit unfair, but I mean, it doesn't really matter that much, since I mostly play online. And that, my folks, are my opinions on Mario Kart World. This took quite long to make, so make sure you smash that subscribe button, smash that like button, and I'll see you gamers in the next video. Peace out!